She says she thought she was going to die, but she was able to fight back with pepper spray and survived.
And now police are still trying to find the two men who she says cut her throat and took her wallet. The attack happened around 5 a.m. Sunday in a shopping center parking lot at the corner of Blanding Boulevard and 103rd Street on the west side. The woman was driving through the parking lot, about to go through a fast food drive-through. Now she says she's talking about the ordeal, although we aren't naming her because the suspects, the robbers, are still on the loose. Channel 4's Jim Piggott joins us from the newsroom now. Jim, how was she able to talk after her throat had been cut?
Well, fortunately, the injuries weren't as bad as it really looked, but it was done with something like this, a butter knife that looked like this. And imagine how hard somebody would have to press in order to make a cut.
I just thought they were going to cut my head off.
But fortunately for this woman, the injury wasn't as bad as it looked. The men who attacked her are still on the loose, so we're not identifying her by name. She says early Sunday morning she was cutting through a parking lot to get to a fast food restaurant. Then she says two men blocked her car. One ran over to open her door.
He yanked the door open. I'm trying to pull the door back to where he jerked it really hard, and I went out the door and fell right there at his leg, and one hand was on the ground.
And since it was a secluded area of the parking lot, no one saw what was happening. And that's when one of the men held a butter knife to her throat and cut her.
And I looked up at him to get a picture of his face, and I had my pepper spray on me. And as I looked up, that's when I had my throat slit from ear to ear. And I was scared as anything, but I was still able to pepper spray him.
That was the break she needed. One of them grabbed her wallet, but they ran off. Now, we showed our crime expert, Ken Jefferson, the interview. He says the woman forgot to do one thing very important.
You've got to always remember to lock your door once you get in the car.
I'm used to having my doors locked, but the driver's side door was unlocked because once I got to Crystals, I wanted to make sure in case the parking lot had a long line in it, I would be able to get out.
We talked to this woman before, 6 years ago, on a different story. She was at home and had a seizure. Her little boy called 911 for help. He was the hero then, and now our crime expert says she's the hero today.
If I could, I would give her a trophy because she fought back. She had pepper spray. She had been slightly cut and bruised, but she still fought back.
Now, police have a description of the men involved. They've also checked surveillance cameras in the area, but they haven't been able to see the assault. We're live in the newsroom. Jim Piggott, Channel 4, the local station.
Jim, it certainly would be really interesting to actually see that video. If will we have an ability to do that? There is surveillance video?
Well, they weren't able to see anything on that surveillance video. They went to a number of stores, so there's really nothing they could see. They were looking to see if they could see the car that those suspects maybe drove off in, but so far, no luck.
And again, you mentioned a butter knife. It's really hard to imagine that someone could cut somebody with a butter knife.
But it could be done. You could imagine that, and that is what happened, and you saw those scars on her neck.
All right, Jim, thanks for that story.